There are fragrances that whisper, and then there are fragrances that walk into a room before you do. Gucci Guilty Intense Pour Femme is absolutely the second kind. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Gucci Guilty is everywhere. It's a department store staple. It's been around for years, and you might be tempted to dismiss it as just another mainstream crowd pleaser. But here's my controversial take. This intense version, the Eau de Parfum Intense, is genuinely a cut above. It's richer, darker, more complex than its siblings. And at the price point we're talking about today, specifically this 10 ml spray from P11, it deserves a serious second look. So let's get into it properly. Gucci. You don't need me to explain the name. But what's interesting is the fragrance story behind this house, because it's deeper than just slapping a logo on a bottle. Gucci has been producing perfume since the 1970s, and the Guilty line launched in 2010. It was a turning point for them, a move away from the very classical, almost stuffy floral territory that big fashion houses use to dominate, and a step toward something modern, sensual, and a little provocative. The name itself, this Guilty, was a statement. This is a fragrance for a woman who doesn't apologize for wanting to be noticed. The Intense flanker took that original DNA and amplified it. More depth, more longevity, more presence. And that decision to create an intense version tells you Gucci knew they were onto something worth developing further. Right. Let's talk about the bottle. Because with Gucci, presentation matters. The 10 ml spray is a miniature version of the full-size flacon, and it holds up beautifully at this size. The bottle itself is rectangular, clean lines, a dark, smoky glass that's almost aubergine in certain lighting. The Gucci logo is minimal, embossed rather than screaming at you. There's a quiet confidence to it. The cap is a matte finish, slightly weighty, which feels premium for something this small. Now, at 10 ml, you're not getting the full sculptural theater of the larger size, but honestly, this little thing is sleek enough to sit in a handbag or on a vanity without embarrassing itself. It feels considered, intentional, very on-brand for Gucci. The spray mechanism is precise, no wasteful splurge with each press, which matters when you're working with 10 milliliters. You want every drop to count. Okay, first spray. This is the moment, isn't it? You press down and immediately, and I mean immediately, you get this warm, slightly tart burst of pink pepper. It's got a little bite to it, a slight fizz on the nose. Then right behind it, a flash of mandarin or citrus brightness. But it doesn't linger. It's almost like the introduction at a party. Quick, confident, and then it steps aside to let the real personality through. What strikes me about the opening is the density. This doesn't feel thin or aquatic or light. From the very first second, it has weight. It has intent. The projection at this stage is genuinely impressive. We're talking this reaches out into your space. You spray it and people around you will notice. Not aggressively so, but there's no hiding this opening. It announces itself. Now, give it about 15 to 20 minutes. This is where Gucci Guilty Intense Pour Femme really starts to reveal its character. The heart of this fragrance is where I think it separates itself from the original Guilty. You get this gorgeous, creamy lilac note, but it's not a sweet, powdery lilac. It's almost earthy, a little green, slightly intoxicating. There's geranium in there too, which adds this rosy but not quite floral dimension. It keeps you guessing. And then there's an amber warmth starting to rise up from beneath. You can feel the bass notes beginning to pull through even at this stage. The whole thing becomes almost velvety on the skin. Rich without being heavy. Sophisticated without being cold. I have to be honest. This is the stage where I fell for this fragrance. The top notes are impressive, but the heart? The heart is beautiful. There's a sensuality to it that feels earned rather than manufactured. After about 2 to 3 hours, you're deep in the dry down now. And this is the soul of the fragrance. This is where it lives. The amber is fully front and center, warm and slightly resinous. There's patchouli in here, and it's used with real sophistication. Not that heavy, dark, student bedroom patchouli, but a refined, slightly sweet patchouli that rounds off the edges and gives the whole scent this incredible depth. There's also what I can only describe as a skin-like quality at this stage. It becomes almost like a second skin. Warm, intimate, close. It's the kind of dry down that makes people lean in when they're near you. Not invasive, intimate. There's a difference. And I think this is what separates a great fragrance from a good one. The dry down has to deliver, and this one absolutely does. If the opening gets attention, the dry down keeps it. Right? Let's be clinical for a moment. Longevity. On my skin, I'm getting a solid 6 to 8 hours before it becomes a genuine skin scent. On clothing, considerably longer. I'm talking 12 hours plus on fabric. I've caught it on a scarf the next morning. That is impressive for any fragrance. And for a 10 ml miniature, it means every single spray is doing serious work. Sillage. This is a medium to high sillage fragrance in the opening 2 hours. It projects well, maybe a meter or so around you, sometimes more in warmer temperatures. As it settles into the heart and dry down, it pulls closer to the skin. It becomes more intimate, more personal. So you have this lovely journey, loud enough to make an entrance, intimate enough to reward closeness. There's real intelligence in how this evolves. My one honest caveat, if you have very dry skin, you might find the longevity edges toward the lower end of that range. A fragrance-free moisturizer before application will genuinely help this perform better. Let's talk about who this is for. Seasonally, this is autumn and winter territory. Without question, the warmth of the amber and patchouli base simply sings in cooler weather. That said, it can work beautifully on a cool summer evening. Think dinner, a bar, a night out. Not a beach fragrance, not a gym fragrance, not a Monday morning at the office fragrance, unless you work somewhere with a bit of edge. This is evening wear, primarily. It's a date night fragrance. It's a confidence fragrance. In terms of personality, this is for someone who owns their presence, someone who's comfortable being noticed. Style-wise, I'd associate this with someone who dresses with intention, not necessarily loud, but deliberate. Quality over quantity. And in terms of age, I'd say this is versatile across generations. It has that classic but modern balance that works whether you're 25 or 55. It's not trying to be youthful. It's trying to be magnetic. And it succeeds. Now, the bit that matters for a lot of us. Value for money. This 10 ml spray is available from P11 at £23. That works out at £2.30 per milliliter, which for a genuine Gucci EDP Parfum Intense is quite reasonable. The 30 ml and 50 ml bottles in stores and online can fetch significantly more per milliliter when you factor in retail markup. So this 10 ml from P11, the link is in the description by the way, is genuinely a smart way to get into this fragrance. It's also brilliant as a try-before-you-commit purchase, or as a handbag staple that travels with you without the anxiety of a full bottle. Could you find cheaper alternatives? There are certainly fragrances that share some of this DNA. Oriental florals with amber bases are everywhere. But the quality of the Gucci Guilty Intense, the coherence of the composition, the brand heritage, that's hard to replicate at a lower price point with the same refinement. My score? I'm giving this an 8.5 out of 10. It loses half a point because the sillage could push even further in the heart phase for my personal taste. But the overall experience, from first spray to final dry down, is genuinely excellent. So, to wrap this up, Gucci Guilty EDP Parfum Intense Pour Femme is a fragrance that absolutely earns its reputation. It's not just riding the Gucci name, it's delivering a genuine olfactory experience. Complex, warm, sensual, and remarkably well-constructed. At 23 pounds, for a 10 ml spray from P11, the barrier to entry is low enough that there's very little risk in trying it. And I genuinely think most of you who try it will want the bigger bottle shortly after. It's that kind of fragrance. The kind you reach for again. The kind you miss when it runs out. I want to know, do you own this? Have you worn the original Guilty, the Intense, the Pour Homme? What do you think, and is Gucci Guilty a timeless classic, or has it peaked? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to grab this 10 ml spray, the direct link to P11 is in the description below. Until next time, wear something worth remembering.